we need everyone. It's hopefully he can be himself and do a good performance.
You lost at Southampton in a cup tie. Pep, nice to see you. Bristol City, 12 games unbeaten. What's your challenge tonight?
Try to beat them.
What do you make of them?
When a team make 12 games unbeaten with this manager, we have a lot of experience in the Premier League and the Champions League. So it's FA Cup away. It doesn't matter where you go. Always is difficult.
Phil Foden starts for you tonight. He had 9.
Tanner and Cameron Pring. There's an early shot from distance and it's off the bar from 25 yards or so from Phillips. He really caught it well. The framework of the goal is still rattling behind Max O'Leary and they're struggling to get the ball clear here, Bristol City. Eventually it's hacked down the left-hand side by Cameron Pring and recovered by Manuel Akanji for Manchester City, just a few yards shy of the halfway line. Early opportunity for City and almost the first goal with just a couple of seconds or so on the clock. Diaz, 10 or so yards shy of the centre circle. Shifted out to the left-hand side for Ake. Tracking back is Bernardo Silva wide on that halfway line and then inside to Calvin Phillips. Tries the diagonal ball, flat through the air, but that's a poor pass in the end. Easily intercepted by Pring, but Alvarez will press, make it difficult for him. Tries to lift the ball up towards the halfway line, where Naki Wells tried to take it down. City wanted initially, but they've given it away, and that's an outstretched boot from Akanji that's missed the ball. Bursting forward, here goes Bell, tries to fire it across to the far side. Naki Wells was closing on it, couldn't get there in time. It goes behind. Stefan Ortega breathes a sigh of relief. 2 minutes on the clock, end-to-end stuff, chances for both. It was good persistent play in the midfield in the centre circle for Bristol City, winning the ball back, and Akanji committed himself and didn't win the ball. Diagonal run in from the left-hand side from Bell. He tried to play it across the 6-yard box. He had options too. May have been a little bit caught between two minds, trying to curl it to the far post, and he caught it particularly poorly. There was a deflection on the way through though, so Bristol City will restart here with a corner kick. 5 in the box for the Robins. Sykes is offering the short corner. Mahrez is pressing an outlet. It'll be taken by Alex Scott. The cross is low into the 6-yard box, stabbed away and high by Calvin Phillips. Down on the volley by Joe Williams, and Bristol City retain possession with the ball all the way back to their goalkeeper. Max O'Leary comes out of his box on the right-hand side and lifts one down the right touchline. Up go the heads, and it's won by a Manchester City one, but only temporarily. It's good persistent play though by Kevin De Bruyne. Latches onto the loose ball. It's been recovered by City on the right-hand side though. Bristol, that is, down the right-hand touchline. That's the pass from Alex Scott in the crossing area. Bursting forward was George Tanner. City have bundled it away on the edge of their 18-yard box. Good touch over the press from Kevin De Bruyne. Now he's over the halfway line. Loose tackle there, hasn't been penalised. It was Cameron Pring desperately trying to get back. Went scything in on Kevin De Bruyne. The crowd are well up for it now. Big cheer for the Bristol City left-back. City take the resulting throw-in quickly. Rico Lewis is essentially playing as a defensive midfielder in this Manchester City side this evening. He's got the ball now in the centre circle, looking to his right-hand side. Kevin De Bruyne is being marked heavily, but there's a bit of space for Mahrez wide on the right-hand side, midway through the Bristol City half. Into the attacking third he goes. It's inside now for Lewis. Finds a ball to Calvin Phillips, right in the middle of that Bristol City half of the field. Shifted across to Ake. Ake wide to the left-hand side. Phil Foden looks for a pass. Running on in front of him was Bernardo Silva. Couldn't find him. It goes back to Ake. Foden now tracking back towards the halfway line. Exchange of passes with Phillips. Ake on the left-hand side. Bernardo Silva will keep that in play midway through the Bristol City half. He's on the touchline. It's inside to Foden on the corner of the box. Further wide back to Bernardo Silva. Stroke back towards Ake. City patient in this build-up play for the moment. It's on the halfway line, left of the centre circle with Ruben Diaz. Now right of the centre circle. Akanji looked a little bit nervous so far. Is Lewis defensive midfield role. Forward towards Alvarez. Tries to lay that back to Kevin De Bruyne. Cameron Pring strong in the tackle and fair. And will stroke this back to the goalkeeper. Max O'Leary, Bristol City on the front foot. Trying to find a ball long downfield to Naki Wells, who's playing as a centre forward it seems this evening, with Bell perhaps a little bit more on the left-hand side. Having another look at that shot from Calvin Phillips. It curled too. was absolutely thumped by the former Leeds man. Max O'Leary did everything he could to try and stretch every sinew to get a finger to it, but saved by the crossbar in the end. That's the closest either side have come in the opening few minutes here. And City have picked Bristol City off on the left-hand side. Here's Phil Foden bursting into the 18-yard box. Good important intervention by Zach Viner. It's dropped to Bernardo Silva in a crossing position near the corner flag. Ball floated into the 6-yard box. Alvarez was interested, but the cross easily claimed by Max O'Leary. Overarm throw towards the left-hand side. It's Alex Scott. Shifted into the centre circle for Joe Williams. Looks to his right. There's Mark Sykes bursting down the right-hand side. Intercepted initially by Ake. Bernardo Silva wants the throw. George Tanner also did too. Referees, I think, have given this the Robbins way. Nigel Pearson already off his seat and to the edge of his technical area. Not afraid of speaking his mind, the Bristol City manager. It was Man City's thrown backwards towards Ruben Diaz. He's trying to evade Naki Wells, who's persistent in his press. It's across to Akanji, 10 yards shy of the centre circle, central position. Out to the right-hand side, Mahrez dropped deep to collect. Across comes the press from Bell, laid backwards. Here's Akanji, 6 yards shy of the halfway line, drifting towards the centre circle. Slowly, sees Phillips, first time ball to him, and then backwards to Ruben Diaz. He's venturing forward into the Bristol City half of the field. Out to Foden on the left-hand side, midway through the Robbins territory. Inside to Ake, diagonal ball, slips as he hit it, but it's perfectly placed on the left boot of Riyad Mahrez. Inside to De Bruyne, tries to slip one between the men. He's found Mahrez, fired across the 6-yard box. There's Foden on the far post, stumped into the top corner. It was coming, City were knocking on the door. Bristol City looked a little bit worried in the early stages, and Foden absolutely slams it home to give the Premier League champions the league at Ashton Gate with just 6.5 minutes on the clock. High fives all round in the Manchester City ranks. Ake's ball out to Mahrez caused a bit of concern. Out came Bell to press Mahrez. Mahrez ran in behind. The line was too deep for the central defenders for Bristol City. They were playing Mahrez onside. He'd had the freedom of Bristol to play it across the 6-yard box, and no one had picked up Foden. The late run at the far post. Zach Viner only realised he was there as soon as Phil Foden made contact with the ball. Left-footed strike, high into the net. Nothing Max O'Leary can do about it. Manchester City lead Bristol City by 1-0. And Pep Guardiola, good nerve-settling moment for them. His side back underway, lifted down the left-hand touchline by Bell. Naki Williams made a good run inside Akanji. Of course, Manchester City, a few problems near their corner flag. Kevin De Bruyne has been penalised here, I think, for a late challenge on Alex Scott. Just a bit too physical there, the City captain. So will be a Bristol City free kick from the left-hand side, a couple of yards off the touchline, level with the edge of the Manchester City box. Bristol City, the hosts, a little bit cautious here, not sending too many forward. At the back post is Thomas Kalas, lurking near the penalty spot. Bell and Sykes. Going to be taken by Matty James, the Bristol City captain this evening. It's to the edge of the area. Scott shifted away onto the left foot. Still going, Scott, into the Man City area. Goes past 3-4 defenders. Eventually, Akanji gets a touch to it, an all-important one. It was a wonderful little run there from Alex Scott. We picked him out before the game as one to watch, and, well, he certainly showed some talent and ability there. The Bristol City number 7, and he's on the ball again on the corner of the box, tries to curl it into the Man City area. That's prodded away from him by Kevin De Bruyne, who's been returned the ball by Phil Foden. City charging forward here on the right-hand side. De Bruyne, characteristic, trademark crossfield ball, but this time, unlike Kevin De Bruyne, doesn't reach its target. It's easily collected on the edge of his own area on the right-hand side by Max O'Leary, the Bristol City goalkeeper. He's got the ball in his hands, all in black with it. Well, it's like a child's crayon scribble on the front of his goalkeeper shirt. Almost a throwback to the 90s. He's just ushering his defenders out. This one will go long. He's taking his time over it. Only the first goal they've conceded in their last 5 games at Ashton Gate, Bristol City. Ball downfield from Man City, down the right-hand touchline, won by Thomas Kalas. The press is on Zach Viner, who does get the pass away, but it's been picked off by Bernardo Silva on the left-hand side for Manchester City. His pass too is loose and intercepted by Matty James. Bristol City can't keep the ball here. It's been stripped on the left-hand side by Phillips, and then Foden gives it away to Bristol City, bursting through the centre circle. Here is Alex Scott out towards the left-hand side. Sykes charging into the 18-yard box, goes down under the challenge of Rico Lewis. No penalty, says Andre Mariner, the referee. He's gone down again here, Lewis, battling again. And this time, Lewis will win the foul. Akanji's gone charging towards the referee. So are the Bristol City players. Alex Scott's involved, Mark Sykes, Andre Mariner. We'll have a little look at this. A really good touch from Sykes. Rico Lewis has come round his right shoulder. It's a little bit of a clumsy challenge. Sykes has shepherded the ball well. There is just a little bit of contact between the right leg of Sykes and the left leg of Rico Lewis. For me, not enough to be a penalty. You've seen them given, it has to be said. And of course, important to remind you, no VAR in operation this evening. Although, had there been, I'm fairly certain the Andre Mariner's decision would have stood. Foden has it on the halfway line for City. Now, Phillips left of centre, shifted across this time to Akanji, bit deeper in his own half now. Edging towards the halfway line, forward towards Rico Lewis on it. Base of the centre circle for Ruben Dias. Just stepping into a bit of space in the Bristol City half of the field. Bernardo Silva will try an early ball. He's going to find Foden too. Max O'Leary's come a long way, and he's dealt with it ever so well. Have to figure out a way of counteracting City's ability to pick out Foden over the top of that back line. Has the pace and the touch too. And Max O'Leary spotted it early and committed. Really intelligent goalkeeping from the Bristol City number 12. He's taking his time over the clearance downfield. Bristol City though back with it. On the edge of their 18-yard box, it's back from Kalash to the goalkeeper, O'Leary. This time it will go long. It's picked up on the left-hand side. Fired forward, looking for Naki Wells from that left-hand position. Wells broke from a central area. It's over the top of him and easily steered back to Ortega, the Man City goalkeeper, to the right of the penalty spot, taking his time for the moment, giving his defenders some time to breathe and recover. Forward ball towards Rico Lewis. Under pressure, but easily gets the ball forward, this time to Bernardo Silva. This time he's ushered back into his own half of the field, so Lewis will take over. Towards the left-hand side, centre half, Ake. Inside to Lewis once more. Shifted across right of centre is Akanji. Midway through the Man City half, Lewis again tries to find De Bruyne. It's too far away from him and collected by the Bristol City back line. Callas forward into midfield for Joe Williams. Matty James too. Now forward to Bell. Slipped in, edge of the area. Naki Wells, bundled down by Calvin Phillips. Didn't pull the trigger, had the space and time to do so. And looks up to see Andre Mariner with his arm up, offside on the Bristol City striker. The ball threaded through and latched onto by Bell. That was the offside. He played it inside to Naki Wells, who'd made an intelligent run. Touched just a little bit too loose. It bobbled away from him in the end and went to ground under his own momentum. Still not looking too concerned here, Bristol City. Happy to try and force their way into the Man City area. A little problem here, I think, for Ruben Dias, or perhaps Stefan Ortega. Yes, it is the Man City goalkeeper who just has a problem. He looks with his thumb on his right hand. The Man City medical team are coming out to check on him. And good opportunity for us to bring you up to date with scores elsewhere in the FA Cup. Well, Stoke City versus Brighton, that kicked off at 7:15, and it's half-time there. Evan Ferguson with a 30-minute goal to give Brighton and Hove Albion the lead. It's Leicester City 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. Tyrese Dolan with the opener for Blackburn Rovers against the Premier League side, so potential upset on the cards there. Fulham leads by a goal to 0. João Palhinha with the goal there. So treatment just still being given to Stefan Ortega. you're only just joining us, it's early in this Bristol City, Manchester City 5th rounds tie in the FA Cup. 15 or so minutes on the clock, and it's Phil Foden with the opener 7 minutes in, thumped in, not picked up at the back post after a good cross from Mahrez. City have it with Ortega now. He looks okay. He's going to rifle one out towards the left-hand side for Ake. Off the midriff of the Dutchman into the path of Ruben Diaz towards the left-hand side of his own box. Lifted forward, headed down well by Alvarez into the path of Rico Lewis, breaking through the centre circle now. Looking towards his right-hand side. There's a run from De Bruyne. Uses him as a decoy, finds Mahrez on the right-hand side. Fresh back towards the halfway line. The pass is to Akanji. At the base of the centre circle in the City half is Ruben Diaz. Shifts that ball onto his right-hand side. Options in front of him. One of them is Alvarez tracking backwards. Laid off to De Bruyne, right of centre. Ominous sign here for Bristol City. Shifted across to the left-hand side. Here's Foden. He's taken down one in the 18-yard box. It was to Alvarez, who missed his kick from the edge of the 6-yard box. He was onto his own right foot from the left-footed effort. And Bristol City have the chance to smuggle this clear. Launched downfield by Joe Williams. Lovely touch in front of Ake by Mark Sykes. Strike backwards to Tanner. Tries to lift one forward. There's three pressing Akanji here, but he's done ever so well to calmly find Phillips, who will lift one towards the right-hand side, and Lewis is in possession for Manchester City. Bristol City tracking bodies back. Akanji, right of centre in the Man City half. To his right, 6 yards there, is Kevin De Bruyne, the man with the armband for Man City this evening. Shifted across this time to Ruben Diaz. Naki Wells lurks in front of him, inching towards the Manchester City centre half is that Bristol City man. He releases the ball to Akanji towards his right, 6 yards forward, walking with it. Across the centre circle to Ruben Diaz, pressed by Naki Williams. Looks towards his right-hand side, does the Man City defender. Lays that off to Akanji, forward to Lewis. First time ball to Diaz, and a bit of space in the right-back position on the halfway line. Down the line for Mahrez, tries to skip away from the tackle. Good touch by Scott. Bristol City have recovered it. Here's Williams, clumsy challenge by the retreating Alvarez in the centre circle, just inside Manchester City half of the field. Bristol City were patient there, just to watch the passing. They pressed the Man City defenders, and the balls forward were finding their men, but City just creating making it a bit more awkward for their exalted hosts visitors this evening. And they're back underway with a free kick on the halfway line. Lifted down the right-hand side by Viner. He's found his teammate in a bit of space. Could be a crossing opportunity onto the left foot. Is lifted in towards the penalty spot. Headed away by Akanji. Touchdown from Mahrez to Phillips. Finds De Bruyne bursting through the middle of the Bristol City half of the field on the counter-attack here, Man City. Really good challenge there from Callas. Important one against Alvarez, who was lurking. He was ready to pounce. It's back to the goalkeeper, Max O'Leary, who's going to curl one down the left-hand touchline. Midway through his own half, 10 yards off that left-hand touchline is Bell. Inside to the Bristol City midfield. Williams with a lovely pass out to the left-hand side, 30 or 40 yards. He's found Alex Scott charging into the Man City penalty area. Skips past one, gets the shot away, but it's straight down the throat of Ortega. He was obstructed by the run of the Bristol City man coming from the far post. It was a really well-played ball out towards this left-hand side. Scott just drifted inside Akanji. Turned him round and tried to curl the effort. Didn't place it well, and Ortega does his job. Ake towards the left-hand side for Foden in his own half temporarily. The Manchester City attacker is Ake, 30 yards from his own goal. Inching forward, pressed by Naki Williams across to Ruben Diaz in the heart of that centre-back trio. Really good shape here from Bristol City, making it difficult for Manchester City to pick them apart. The ball is long forward towards Bernardo Silva, takes it down well. Bristol City get bodies back. Phil Foden's got it on the edge of their area. Out to the left-hand side for Bernardo Silva. Winds up the cross, closed by Matty James. Back to Phil Foden. A little bit further deep is Ake into a bit of a 30 yards from goal position. Left of centre is Phillips. Tries to curl it across to the far side. Headed away this time by Cameron Pring. Man City recovered in the centre circle in their own half. Forward to Rico Lewis, looking towards his left-hand side. Phil Foden's picked up a bit of space on the touchline. Across comes Tanner this time to close him down. Foden in a bit of space near the corner flag. So round the side of Tanner, finds Bernardo Silva. Perfectly timed run, cross towards the back post. Diving header from Pring. Helped on its way by Naki Wells. He's gone down clutching at his leg as Ruben Diaz recovers the ball for City. Akanji, left of centre for Phillips. De Bruyne popping up between Space between the midfield and the defence. Tried to put it through to Alvarez. Bristol City get it clear. Looked for the early ball towards Bell. Straight into Ortega. And once again, Manchester City are in possession and in the centre circle. Here's Rico Lewis. There was a diagonal run from a central area by Alvarez. Wasn't spotted in time by Lewis. Hand of apology by the Manchester City academy graduate. Akanji across, this time to Ruben Diaz. Good press by Bristol City. They've decided to get a bit higher now. Akanji. Back to the goalkeeper Ortega, just to the right of the penalty spot. Here's Ruben Diaz, takes over possession in the 18-yard box. He's walking the ball forward, patient. Now Nahki Wells will press, and now Ruben Diaz will unleash a ball up to the halfway line. And once again, Kevin De Bruyne takes it in its stride, plays it towards Riyad Mahrez on this right-hand side. And it's again back to Akanji and across to Ruben Diaz. The ball gets forward, but it's coming straight back at Man City. Here is Ruben Diaz, pressed by Nahki Wells, just a few yards shy of the halfway line. It's Rico Lewis trying to shield the ball away from Scott. The referee has blown the whistle, Andre Mariner. Says that Wells won the ball unfairly. He was dawdling on the ball a little bit there, Ruben Diaz. Wells just a bit clumsy. A bit more precision. Bristol City could have picked up the ball in a very handy area. As it is, Rico Lewis has just got us back underway with a free kick backwards towards Ruben Diaz. Ake down the left-hand touchline to Foden. He's under pressure this time from Tanner. Now into midfield for Calvin Phillips. They'll get it back to Ruben Diaz. Left of centre. Into the centre circle he goes. Pressed by Scott. Ruben Diaz steers this back to Stefan Ortega. 10 yards outside his area. Can the keeper pick the lock out towards the left-hand side? Wonderful ball from Ortega. Midway through the Bristol City half. Wide on that side was Silva. Down and inside to Foden. Spins on the ball and distributes that back towards Phillips. Now Lewis just forward of the centre circle. 40 yards or so from the Bristol City goal. Lewis turning one way then the other. All he can see is red. Backwards it goes again to Ruben Diaz. Between the lines here on the left-hand side is Alvarez. Bundled to ground by Sykes. It's a give and go from Foden to Silva near the left-hand corner flag. Back to Foden on the left-hand side. Edge of the area is Ake. Left of centre. Edge of the 18-yard box. De Bruyne between the lines here for Ake. Prods that forward towards Silva. Almost spots the run. Almost finds him too. Just a little bit out of reach for the Portuguese man. And it's into the hands of Max O'Leary, the Bristol City goalkeeper. That's better from Man City. They have the lead, but Bristol City have responded well to going a goal behind. Ake threads that between three players in a very tight area. Almost picks out Bernardo Silva. Running into a bit of danger there is Viner. He wants a foul, it's not been given. Alvarez has found De Bruyne, tries to shoot across the goalkeeper. Well blocked there. Lifted across, it's not gone yet. Foden towards the back post. Riyad Mahrez tries the volley and then flicks away off the head of Thomas Callas as he dropped onto the line. I think he was going wide anyway. Just about cleared. Zach Viner ran himself into a cul-de-sac. Was in all sorts of trouble. He was almost looking for the foul. Alvarez threaded it through to Kevin De Bruyne, closed in on the 6-yard area. It was really good defending. Cross has been taken from the corner, and there's the follow-up header from Ruben Diaz, but it's well caught by Max O'Leary. City took the corner quickly. They crossed from a wide area on the left-hand side. Bristol City weren't quite set for it. And Max O'Leary gets them out of jail there. Claims the ball too, holds on to it. Can be such an asset when your goalkeeper does that from those set-piece positions. It was pretty comfortable in the end. Watched it all the way. Did the goalkeeper off the forehead of Ruben Diaz. And he's just dropped that to his feet and tries to lift it forward towards Nahki Wells. Bundled away from him by City. The pass towards De Bruyne, though, is loose. And Bristol City pop up with it on the left-hand side with Cameron Pring. They're going to retain possession. Williams goes backwards. This time to Callas now on the left-hand side. Darts infield, tries to run away from Riyad Mahrez, finds Scott on that halfway line on that left-hand side, and it's backwards now to Joe Williams. Shifted across towards Zach Viner. Straight back to Williams, dropping alongside the defensive players. Here's one of them, Thomas Callas, onto his right foot, diagonal ball forward. It's a good run from Scott. Into out. It was Bell who took it down in the end on the edge of the Man City penalty area, and the flag has gone up on the far side. Adam Nunn. Well, it's a tight one. On second look, Akanji may just have been playing Bell onside. It was good defending, though, from Ruben Diaz, who stepped out to play him. And At least ask the question of the assistant referee. It's backwards from Ruben Dias following the short corner free kick. It's Ortega just walking with it outside of his own 18-yard box, waiting for pressure, and it does come. He'll play that to Ruben Dias on the left-hand side. Out towards Ake. Ake backwards to Ruben Dias. Dias looks to his right. There's Akanji in the right-back position. 6 yards forward from the edge of his own box. Forward to De Bruyne. Inside to Rico Lewis. Bursting forward right of centre. Bristol City retreating. He's attempted to lift that across toward the left-hand side. It was just behind Phil Foden, and in trying to turn and stop his momentum, he stepped to ground, and that's drifted out of play on that far side for a Bristol City throw. Good idea from Lewis. Execution not quite what he wanted. And George Tanner will have the throw-in to take on that right-hand side for the Robins. Up towards the halfway line, he's looking for Scott. Scott heads it inside to Sykes. Good header from Calvin Phillips, wins it back for City. Down the left-hand touchline, Phil Foden now. Tries to backheel it past Zach Viner. Got a touch on it, will be a throw-in. Bernardo Silva's already collected on that far side. Around 25 or so yards from the corner flag. Across goes Ake to take control of the situation away from Bernardo Silva. He'll offer himself as an option for the throw now. Towards Ake's left. Ake taking his time. Here is Silva. Straight back to Ake on the left-hand side. Into Foden on the edge of the area. First time passing here from City. It's found Silva. Back heel to Ake on that left-hand touchline. All the way back towards the halfway line. Dias into Akanji. Just to the left of the centre circle. Back out towards the left-hand side. Dias popping up in the left-back position on the halfway line. Forward to Silva. Left of centre. Here's a layoff towards Ake. It was pretty poor. Goes down a plate. Another Bristol City throw. Similar position. Tanner this time will hope to retain possession for a bit longer. Tanner backwards. Finds Sykes on the right-hand corner of his own penalty area. Back to the goalkeeper. O'Leary under a little bit of pressure. Lifts one out towards the left-hand side. Well, one on the head by Cameron Pring. But he can't find a teammate. Naki Wells tried to get involved. Callas header from the left-back position. Under pressure from Mahrez. That's been taken down by Bell on the halfway line. Lewis snapping with the challenge. Off him last, out of play. Will be a throw into Bristol City on the halfway line. Well, Bristol City have made it all the way to the final. That was way back in 1909, where they were runners-up against Manchester United. That's back in the day when the FA Cup final was held at Crystal Palace, not Selhurst Park, but what is now the Athletic Stadium. They've had their throw-in cleared longer downfield. They'll have it again. Another chance for Cameron Pring to find a teammate with his hands. Pep Guardiola's not happy with where the throw-in's being taken. Pring won't care. It's long down the touchline, won by Akanji. Heads that inside, taken down by Sykes. Tried to find Bell, but once again cleared by Manchester City. Clearance from Viner, finds a teammate. Williams lifts one toward the left-hand side. Bell just tries to drift inside Rico Williams, who in time got his head to it and heads that back to Stefan Ortega. Ruben Dias in possession in his own box, left of centre. Out towards the D he goes. He's shifted that back to Stefan Ortega. He and Ruben Dias just playing the ball between themselves. This is Ake in the left-back position. Up towards the halfway line it goes. Foden was retreating from an advanced position. Skips inside away from the challenge of George Tanner. All the way to right in the middle of the Man City half, where he plays it to Rico Lewis. Back to Akanji. 10 yards outside his 18-yard box in the central area is Dias. Out to Ake. Phillips comes to pick the ball up from the Man City defender. Phillips now to Dias. Into the centre circle for Alvarez. Sliding challenge from Viner. Advantage played by Andre Mariner. Foden has found Silva on the left-hand side. Tanner's closed him down well. Inside to Ake, left of centre. Forward to Phil Foden. Back to Phillips. Phillips into De Bruyne. And he's been shut down well by Bristol City, whose shape went from a little bit ragged to solid in the blink of an eye. And they've pressed Man City all the way back to the goalkeeper Ortega, who's under a little bit of pressure here from Naki Wells. Just shifted it from right to left foot, bought himself a bit of time, did Ortega. The ball was out to Foden on the left-hand side, nods this down, but once again retrieved by Bristol City in their own back line. That's a forward pass this time from Naki Wells, but he didn't spot that his teammate on the right-hand side, Mark Sykes, had just strayed into an offside position, a little bit too early with the run. And Nathan Ake did well to spot that. stepped up just in time. They've got it in their own 18-yard box again here, City. Ortega. Now Ruben Dias, left of the penalty area. Carrying the ball forward and finding Ake on the left-hand side in the left-back position. Forward to De Bruyne popping up on the left wing. Just shy of the halfway line. Got away from him briefly, but manages to prod it back towards Ake just in time. Sykes was lurking. Here's Ruben Dias on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Forward to Phillips. Snapping at his heels is Alex Scott and Mark Sykes. Here is Lewis, though, for City. Up to the centre circle. Trying to burst his way past Joe Williams. Out to that left-hand side. He's found Foden. Now De Bruyne running at Tanner. Onto his right foot, De Bruyne. Tanner presses. Now Foden on the edge of the 18-yard box. Finds Phillips 30 yards from goal. Shifted across to Ake left of centre. 25 yards from goal. That's reducing, though. Out to De Bruyne on the far side. Closed down this time by Sykes. Sykes inside to Calvin Phillips. Phillips will try and shift it across. Here's Akanji, just at the pinnacle of that centre circle. Now all the way out to the right-hand side, Riyad Mahrez in possession. Onto his left foot, back to Akanji. Akanji, 10 yards into that Bristol City half. Ruben Dias is in the centre circle. In Akanji's feet, forward towards Mahrez, tracking back to collect the ball. Under pressure from Pring. Lewis made the run. Out towards the left-hand side it goes, though. Kevin De Bruyne has got a bit of space. He's going to run at Sykes. Onto his right foot. Will try and curl one towards the far post, but he's got that wrong. Too much on it and not enough direction. Sliced it well over the top of the crossbar, and much to the enjoyment of the home fans this evening. Kevin De Bruyne miscues one from, well, Kevin De Bruyne range. Probably really breathing a sigh of relief. They've given almost as good as they've got here this evening, Bristol City. Half an hour or so played and had a shot on target at least. O'Leary will wave his defenders forward. It's going to be at one. Launched long downfield towards the heads. And O'Leary will force it out towards the left-hand side. Up goes Pring, challenging with Mahrez. Collecting his bell, back towards Pring again. Pring has to stumble and fall as he tries to keep it in play. That's a pretty poor challenge on Mahrez, just in front of the dugouts. Pep Guardiola's made that point to the fourth official. It has been given as a Manchester City free kick. It was Pring. I think he was just trying to get his own back. Riyad Mahrez pretty physical with Pring, following the goal kick. It's made its way to the left-hand side. Foden will return that to Ake, 12 yards shy of the halfway line, just shifting into a more central position and playing that back to Ruben Dias. Once again, the goalkeeper will come and get involved with his defenders. Right of centre. Rolls the ball out of his feet and then lifts one forward. Spotted the run of Riyad Mahrez off his shoulder and then headed clear by Pring up towards the halfway line. De Bruyne and Alvarez rather got in each other's way, and now Williams can exploit that. Plays that onto Mahrez's feet. Will be a throw into Bristol City down the left-hand side in front of Nigel Pearson, their manager. Pring backwards towards Callas. 20 yards inside his own half, 10 yards off the left-hand touchline. Back it goes to O'Leary, left of the Bristol City penalty area. Onto his right foot and long downfield. Underneath it converging, Naki Wells and Bell. Wells has been ushered away from the ball by Akanji, and Andre Mariner blows his whistle. Will be a free kick Man City's way. Joe Williams has just had a word with the referee, and Andre Mariner sees fit to blow his whistle once more and ask Williams to clarify himself. I think he was at risk of talking himself into the book there. Akanji takes the free kick shortened to his left to Ruben Dias. Now all the way across to Ake on the left-hand side. Just inching his way towards the halfway line. City certainly the stronger side so far in the game, but only one goal in it so far. Dias to Ake. Ake tries to thread one through. That's well ushered away from it. Alvarez was by Viner. And doing the mopping up is Tanner. With the ball back to O'Leary. Up to the halfway line first time from the goalkeeper. It's come off ahead of a Bristol City player, but Akanji launches it back into the City half. Jumping is Alvarez, winning the header too, but only finding Pring. Pring back to O'Leary. O'Leary under pressure this time from De Bruyne. Diagonal ball out towards the right-hand side. Tanner will lift it on its way towards Sykes. Ake prods that into the Bristol City half for Manchester City. He's found Silva, looks for Foden. He's given the ball away briefly. Sykes' touch was loose and Foden comes away with it. Gives it to De Bruyne. He's been stripped of it in the midfield by Williams. On the left-hand side is Bell, darting inside. Tries to go past Lewis. Winding up the strike. Tries to curl one. He ran all the way across the 18-yard box. and a little window just opened up in front of him. He saw enough to go for it. It was off target, and Ortega watches on happily as it sails over the bar into the stand behind his goal. Just got underneath it. Man City players were worried. Rico Lewis was throwing himself towards the ball. Free kick taken. The goal kick taken, rather, into Lewis and back to Diaz. Lewis again in the D on the edge of the 18-yard box. Sat to Akanji. To the byline for the goalkeeper. Under pressure from Naki Wells. Gets it away just in time. And Wells' pressure was enough to see that ball drift out of play down the Man City right. It was intended for Riyad Mahrez. He tried to get his boot to it and keep it in play, but Pring will have the throw midway through the City half. Down the left-hand side, he's looking for Scott. Mahrez gets a touch again to it. It's come off the chest this time of Naki Wells. And did go out of play. Did flick it back in with his head, but assistant referee confirms that will be a Man City throw, level with the edge of their own box down their right-hand side. Rico Lewis will take. Akanji's near the corner flag. We'll throw this down the line, though. Looks like a foul throw to me, but it's straight onto the head of Pring. Scott through the legs of Phillips. Still going, Scott. Tries to pull it across the 18-yard box. This time it's off the shins of Akanji and perhaps a bit of Bernardo Silva too, and will be a corner kick for Bristol City. Be a great time for them to get on the score sheet. Half-time fast approaching. Once again, Scott showing what he can produce. Delivery will be from Matty James. James in towards the near post, headed away by Phillips well. Scott takes it down 35 yards from goal. Stroked across towards the right-hand side for Williams. Out further right towards Sykes, but he can't latch onto that, just a bit too far away from him. Sets off in hot pursuit, but didn't get there in time. City will have the throw. 6 yards from the corner flag down their left-hand side. Nigel Pearson sparking out some instructions, some encouragement. As Nathan Ake takes the ball for Man City. He'll throw this down the line, surely. Calvin Phillips drops steep, but Ake waves him away. He's looking for Alvarez. The header comes from Tanner. Hard to play again for another City throw. A bit further forward. And Ake takes this one a bit quicker. Back to Ruben Diaz in the left-back position. Now into the goalkeeper, Ortega. Shifted onto his right foot on the 6-yard line. Pass is flat and low to Phillips along the ground, just on the edge of his own 18-yard box. Now Diaz towards the retreating Lewis in the picking up on the edge of his own box. Bit of space to run into. It's going to be closed down relatively quickly by Williams and Matty James. Out to Akanji. Bell presses. Ortega in possession just outside his own 18-yard box. Bell followed him all the way. Tried the diagonal out towards the left-hand side to Foden. Picked out of the sky by Matty James. Chipped forward from James. He's looking over the top of Phil Foden, who's juggling it ever so well on the halfway line and comes away with it. James bites back at him with a late challenge. Foden's run into the body of Scott. Andre Mariner blows the whistle, as that was a foul. Body check, I think, from Alex Scott, and Phil Foden's holding onto his face. We'll have a look at the replay. James just leant into him, sent Foden off balance a little bit. He got to the ball before Scott. Scott was coming across to offer the challenge. I don't think he kind of just holds his ground, but it is a sore one for Phil Foden. Andre Mariner sees the free kick, all that was required. Foden's back on his feet and looks okay to continue. Free kick will be City's and lifted out towards Foden. Tracking back is Tanner. Tanner lifts one into touch. Will be a throw-in down the left-hand side for City, level with the edge of the Bristol City box, taken quickly by Foden. Here's Ake, back to Foden. 35 yards from goal, steered back to the halfway line for Ruben Diaz, left of centre. Into the centre circle for Manuel Akanji. Options in front of him. There's a run from Alvarez, curling it inside to out towards Foden. He's got there before Tanner. Tries to put it across to Foden, stabbed away by Viner. Out of play on the full for a throw-in midway through Bristol City's half down the left-hand side. Some touch from Phil Foden, because George Tanner got a little bit of touch on him on the way through as he plucked it out of the sky. Just couldn't manufacture the cross that was required for Man City then. Ortega in possession for Man City on the edge of the 18-yard box. Ruben Diaz is in the left-back position. We'll steer it back towards the goalkeeper, Ortega. Ortega to Lewis in the defensive midfield role. Across to his colleague Calvin Phillips. Now straight back to Ortega, who's to the right of the penalty spot, in front of the travelling Man City fans down towards our left-hand side. Ortega will go to his right for Akanji, to Lewis at the base of midfield. That was an attempted curling first-time ball towards Mahrez on the halfway line. He's not quite pulled it off, but it will be possession conceded straight back to the hosts. Throw-in will be Bristol City's. Pring thrown backwards towards Kalash, into Williams. He's quickly converged on by Alvarez and De Bruyne, and his pass is followed by Silva all the way to Viner. His pass is poor and picked off by Foden. Man City back in possession, left of centre. Here's Ake on the halfway line, into Alvarez. Lovely back heel towards Phil Foden, towards Kevin De Bruyne now, through the legs of Williams. De Bruyne lashes one with the left foot and it's over the bar. Really good move there from Man City. Quick one-touch football. The back heel from Alvarez saw a pass that didn't even seem to be there. Foden ran onto it, was unselfish. De Bruyne used his body, just dummied his way past Williams. The angle got more narrow as he let it drift onto his left foot, trying to lash it home, but didn't catch it well over the bar into the stand behind. Still Bristol City 0, Manchester City 1. Phil Foden, little shrug of the shoulders, lifted out of play towards the left-hand side, was it? No, kept in play by Pring, following the clearance from O'Leary. Williams latched onto the second ball, bundled to ground off the ball was Bell. Battling forward is Scott with Phillips. Williams comes away with it for Bristol City, into the centre circle for Tanner, not really got it under control, and Foden was snapping at him. Here's Viner, midway through his own half, right of centre, forward to the retreating Sykes, down the right-hand touchline from Tanner, sliding across was Ake, out of play on the right-hand side, midway through the Manchester City half for Bristol City to take the throw. Tanner will go all the way back to Viner in the right-back position, 20 or so yards away from the halfway line. Here's O'Leary, just outside his own 18-yard box, lifted towards the left-hand side, flicked down the left-hand touchline by Pring. He was looking for the run of Bell. The loose touch was from Bell. Out of play will be a throw into Man City, already collected by Rico Lewis. 35 yards from the corner flag down the right-hand side. Lewis finds De Bruyne, first time ball back to Lewis, lifted away from one challenge, then another, but can't return the pass to Kevin De Bruyne. In steps Thomas Kalash, tries to clear this up to the halfway line. Naki Wells is proving a handful for Manuel Akanji. He's gone down clutching his ankle. I think there was a late stud just left in there from Naki Wells. Andre Mariner is going to walk across and just have a word with the Bristol City man. Just a word of advice to calm down. His boot was high and the studs were showing. Akanji's follow through from his clearance took the inside of his ankle right into the underside of Naki Wells' boot. That is a sore one. Andre Mariner just checks on the Man City centre half, who's hobbling, but it looks okay. Ticking towards half-time now, 90 seconds or so left until the 45. There will be some added on, of course. Here's Phillips, base of midfield, 10 yards from the halfway line, left of centre, out towards Ake in the left-back position on the halfway line. Chips one forward, looking for Foden. Tanner's with him. Foden, first-time ball across the 18-yard box, pretty poor one. Thomas Kalash slices the clearance, goes behind, will be a corner kick. Zach Viner's a little bit upset, thought that he played Phil Foden offside. Foden's hobbling a little bit. We'll have a little look on the replay. Viner was appealing for offside on Foden. The officials disagreed, and City will have the set piece. Foden doesn't look to be moving particularly comfortable. Out goes Kevin De Bruyne to the far side. Will stroke it to Foden on the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Back to De Bruyne. Early cross, stabbed in towards the edge of the 6-yard area. Headed away this time. It's at Mahrez, 35 yards from goal. Bristol City get out quickly, trying to shut Man City down, but that's a good pass from Lewis. Finds Phillips into the 18-yard box. Spinning on it is Ruben Diaz off the deck. Really good touch, and it's a block on the way through, and Max O'Leary eventually takes charge of the situation. Threw his body at the ball. A really good touch from the Man City defender. And out with a really important intervention, stretching there was Cameron Pring. And Bristol City will get it Long downfield. Phillips wins the header though. He's not found De Bruyne. Bristol City pick it up on the halfway line out towards the left-hand side. Cameron brings volleys one towards Naki Wells, who'll chase and give Akanji something to think about. And Bristol City have picked up the second ball on this left-hand side. Once again, Scott's important. Forward ball from Williams. He's looking for the run of Bell, but that's just too far in front of him, and Lewis has charge of the situation. We'll just usher that behind as the fourth official, James Liddington, puts the ball aloft, and it says 2 minutes added on for the rest of this second half. Had 30 seconds of it already. Is Ake in possession for Manchester City. Bernardo Silva. Being pressed well by Naki Wells. Just to his right is Calvin Phillips. The game just settling down a little as we inch our way towards half-time. Both sides seem pretty content with how things are. Nigel Pearson will relish getting a hold of his side at the half-time interval. They've done well. What's the build on for the Robins? They need to hold out towards the half-time period though, because it's on the left-hand side with Foden. Only Tanner is there, and Foden's running around the outside of him. Foden still going, but can't get the cross away. It's De Bruyne forward to Silva in the 18-yard box. Edge of the area is Phillips, has hit one well already. That one not quite so well struck from the former Leeds man. Drifts harmlessly wide of Max O'Leary's left hand upright. Another play for a goal kick. Similar distance, very different outcomes from Calvin Phillips. Sliced across the ball. And not best pleased with himself there. 20 seconds left until the referee blows the half-time whistle. Max O'Leary will take as much of that as he can. Lifted out to the left-hand side. Mahrez isn't even going to challenge. Prink isn't either. It's out to play on the full for a throw-in in front of the dugouts on the Manchester City right. Lewis takes quickly and back to Akanji. Across to Ruben Diaz. Diaz looks to his left, and Andre Mariner looks to his watch and blows the whistle. That's half-time. It's kind of going to the scriptures, we thought, but Bristol City are hanging in there. Being a stubborn opponent, some last-ditch defending has retained the Robins' hope in this contest in the FA Cup 5th round. Phil Foden with the opener, 7 minutes in. Can Bristol City inch their way back into the game, or will Manchester City continue to dominate? We'll find out in around 15 minutes time for the second half. Join us then.
Audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time, receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time, receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time, receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this live score audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read.
Intervening period as he's sat in the dressing room. Pep Guardiola looks like he's going to pull the trigger there as the two sides make their way back onto the field of play. It was Bristol City 0, Manchester City 1 after the first half. City racing into an early lead, but after that the Robins were pretty firm and pretty lively up front to Alex Scott, the shining light for them, the man threatening the Manchester City backline the most. They have had just the one shot on target, the hosts, Manchester City's 2, but it's been enough for Nigel Pearson and the supporters inside Ashton Gate to feel encouraged against the side of Man City's quality. And the visitors are just joining us back onto the field of play now, and applauded roundly by the travelling supporters down towards our left-hand side. There are other FA Cup games, of course, going on this evening. Well, they're into the 90th minute. That one kicked off at 7:15 in Stoke. Stoke trail Brighton by an Evan Ferguson goal to 0. Looks like the one of the not surprise packages, it has to be said, one of the performing form sides of the Premier League are heading towards the next round of the FA Cup. So that's confirmation that Edison will come on for Stefan Ortega. So a change in goal for Manchester City. Not a bad player to bring on if your goalkeeper goes down with a sore thumb. Also a change for Bristol City. Andreas Weimann has come on. We'll bring you confirmation of who he's replaced as they get back underway. City with the kickoff playing from left to right this time. The hosts, Bristol City, I should say. Two sides, same suffix. Here's Spring into Joe Williams, steered backwards into the feet of Kalash. Joe Williams on the halfway line again. Now Viner, shifted across from Viner to Matty James, and first time ball back to the goalkeeper. It's Max O'Leary, long downfield, crossfield pass, looking forward towards the left-hand side. Good head this time from Akanji. Pring came darting in from that left-hand touchline. Challenge for the ball, but Bristol City have won the throw on that left-hand touchline. It'll be Pring on the halfway line to take. Wants to go backwards towards Kalash. Inside him is Joe Williams, showing for the ball. It will eventually go back towards Thomas Kalash. Wide on that left-hand side, midway through his own half. Shifted all the way back to O'Leary, left-hand side of the penalty area. Shifts the ball onto his right foot. And another diagonal out towards the right-hand side, looking for Sykes. There's the challenge from Viner on Alvarez, wins the ball too. And Matty James steers it to Kalash. Back to James on the edge of his own penalty area. O'Leary takes no chances. First time ball, it's a good one, but a really poor ball up in the air. Coming off the left-hand touchline. Looks like it's Pring challenging with Phillips. There it is. Phillips tries not to concede the foul. Has done so. Andre Mariner, happy to let play continue with Callas in possession left of centre for Bristol City. 10 yards outside his own 18-yard box, across to Viner. Played against the shins of Phil Foden by Sykes. He takes the throw in as well. And Naki Wells wants a free kick. Andre Mariner says yes. Just coming over the top of his man was Bernardo Silva. Will be a free kick on the halfway line. Right of centre and taken backwards. Viner with a diagonal out towards the left-hand side. Straight to Lewis. He tries to steer it first time back to Edison. Comes out to the ball and he's been met by Bell. Both of them have gone down. Edison's now clutching at his ankle. Well, this wouldn't be good if Manchester City lost 2 goalkeepers in the night. Akanji tries to play out, put the ball out of play with Bell and both Edison. It was a hefty collision. Bell was well within his rights to try and close down the goalkeeper. Edison's come charging out. He's got to the ball first. He's played it straight to a Bristol City player whose touch, well, if it was a little bit better, would have had a free strike from some distance and an untended goal. But for the moment, both sides will focus on the 2 players. It looks like Bell may have come out slightly better of the 2. Edison initially got to his feet, started hobbling. He's still hobbling, the Man City goalkeeper. Tanner has been replaced by Andreas Weimann. The pass back from Lewis. Well, Akanji was there. I think he was trying to shepherd the ball back, but he didn't really do a very good job of it. Kind of just wandered away from it, and out from behind him popped Bell and straight into Edison. The 2 are back on their feet and look okay to continue. City are in possession, 20 yards outside their own box in the form of Ruben Dias. Forward to Lewis. This pass this time is out towards the left-hand side and much more assured. It's Ake in possession, 10 yards off the touchline, midway through his own half. Being pressed this time by Andreas Weimann. Now Phillips across to Bernardo Silva. Silva looking for a way away from the press of Scott. He's stepping one way, then the other. Persistent is the press from Scott and Weimann. Goes back to Dias again. Pressed by Naki Wells out towards the right-hand side. Akanji. Bell comes to meet him. Down the line for De Bruyne. Almost loses it. Shows a bit to Naki Wells, but De Bruyne will shuffle it back to Ruben Dias, right of centre, on the edge of his own penalty area. Will use the goalkeeper Edison. Little test of how that ankle is after the collision. Looks to be moving okay. And shakes his head as he passes that to the edge of his own area to Ruben Dias. Dias shifted onto his left foot, out to Akanji in the right back position midway through his own half, forward and inside towards Kevin De Bruyne. Rifles that into the feet of Lewis and he can't take possession. Williams has lost it though to Mahrez, tries to go darting down the right hand side. Important little touch there from Pring, who was out of position. Throw-in taken quickly by Mahrez on the halfway line. Here's Lewis, right of centre. Now a bit further wide, still inside is De Bruyne. Centre circle for Phillips. Phillips with a bit of space to run into. Bernardo Silva runs through it in front of him. Phillips left of centre. Towards his left is Ake. Further wide this time for Foden, the goal scorer. Comes in off the touchline and backwards to Ake once more. City playing it between themselves, looking for space, looking for angles. Phillips back to Ake, forward into the heel of Bernardo Silva, just in front of Phil Foden. Bernardo Silva wide on the left-hand side, in a crossing position near the corner flag. Ushers that back to Phillips. Bounces that off Foden. Phillips left of centre, 30 yards from goal. Backwards again it goes on this left-hand side with Ake. Into the retreating Alvarez. Came to meet it. Fires that back onto the chest of Ake. Tries to steer it down the touchline for Foden. Cross comes Weimann off the knee. Out of play. Man City throw. 30 or 35 yards from the byline. Thrown backwards by Ake to Alvarez. Alvarez in it, left of centre, inside position. He was looking for a crossfield ball, it wasn't there, so it went straight back to Ruben Dias. Been bounced back to him by Calvin Phillips. Dias a little bit sloppy in possession, almost closed down by Naki Wells, but he's got the ball forward, and here comes Foden across the 6-yard box, and it's just narrowly away from Alvarez. O'Leary went diving at the feet. There was a defender with him too. It's been picked up on the left-hand side by Bristol City. Pring went charging forward, tried to play it inside to Williams. He's been caught in possession. City are on the attack again. De Bruyne tries to find Mahrez inside right position. Pring gets there first, tries to steer it out on a play for a throw. It's not going to get there. De Bruyne's hauled it back into play. Here is De Bruyne heading off towards the edge of the area. Lewis in between the lines, tries to fire it across the 18-yard box. Flies all the way over the heads and out of play for a Bristol City throw on their right-hand side, 10 yards off the corner flag. Breathtaking period of play for Manchester City. It was a really good ball from Ake down the left-hand touchline. Foden got in behind his man. Tracking back was Sykes. It went along the through the 6-yard area. O'Leary came out. He didn't get a touch to it. Neither could Alvarez. Neither could the defender tracking. And eventually Pring latched onto it on the far side. Throw-ins taken by Sykes. City have won it again in the attacking third. Here's Mahrez. He's got support to his right in the form of Lewis, but he's been stripped of it by Bell. Heads out towards that left-hand touchline. Eases it round the press of Mahrez. Naki Wells latches onto it, retains possession. And back it goes to Cameron Pring. Forward into midfield. Wells is still there. Closed down by Phillips. Haul to ground. Has a little look at Andre Mariner. Shakes his head. It's back to the goalkeeper. O'Leary. Diagonal ball out towards the right-hand side. That's just over the head of Sykes. I think he lost it in the lights when he did catch sight of it. He couldn't adjust his body in time, and Ake will take the throw from just inside Bristol City's half of the field. It's back towards Diaz. Base of the centre circle now is Akanji. Akanji across to Diaz again. Diaz towards the left-hand side for Ake on the halfway line. Inside to Lewis in that centre circle. Ake again to this left-hand side. Down the line from Ake. Finds Foden retreating. Dodging his way through red-shirted bodies. Ruben Diaz in the left-back position near the corner flag. Inside to Edison, pressed by Bell. Lewis on the edge of the 18-yard box. So Akanji in a bit of a cul-de-sac here. Naki Wells is snapping at his heels as Akanji tries to carry it forward. Little tug on Akanji from Wells will be penalised by Andre Mariner. Didn't need to do it. Bristol City had bodies pressing forward. There weren't many passes obvious to Manuel Akanji. He was turning into a bit more pressure, and Naki Wells just pulled the left arm, spun Akanji round, and it was an easy decision for Andre Mariner to make. Here's Ake in possession on the left-hand side, 10 yards off the touchline, forward to Alvarez. Alvarez playing almost the false 9 role this evening. It's straight back to Ake, though, left of centre in his own half. A little bit further inside is Diaz, back towards the left-hand side for Ake, between the lines for De Bruyne. First-time ball to the left-hand side for Bernardo Silva. Early cross, he's looking for Alvarez, but dealt with by Kalash. Cleared downfield by Williams. Naki Wells will give chase and put Diaz under a bit of pressure, but he just skips away from him with ease, does Ruben Diaz. Up to the halfway line, and then reverse pass backwards to the left-hand side for Nathan Ake. Inside to Manuel Akanji, taking his time on the ball. 10 yards outside his box. It's finished at Stoke. Brighton have won that 1-0. Evan Ferguson with that. They progress through to the quarter-finals. Great season they're having, the Seagulls. On the left-hand side for Silva. Forward ball to Foden. Skips in beyond Sykes. Foden on the edge of the area. Bit more intent in this attack from City. De Bruyne to the right-hand side. Mahrez pulls it back to the penalty spot. Alvarez can't get there. Little block on it from Sykes. Acrobatic clearance. Bicycle kick from Kalash. And Bristol City have picked it up on the edge of the centre circle. Naki Wells trying to get away from Phillips. He's played it back inside, but straight to Phil Foden towards the left-hand side. De Bruyne finds Phil Foden. Foden trying to run away from Matty James. Left-hand side is Silva on the edge of the 18-yard box. Now Foden inside that penalty area. Back to the edge of it for De Bruyne, left of centre. Further wide for Silva in a crossing position. Now De Bruyne once more, shifted onto his right foot. Across comes the press from James. And Weimann. Ake on the left-hand side, rolling the ball under his left boot. Arches that backwards towards Bernardo Silva. City are just settling things down here, lurking 20 yards away from the Bristol City goal, but that's a loose touch from Ake. Just gave a sniff to Sykes, and he snapped it downfield. And the touch is from Pep Guardiola. The throw will be Manchester City's. Ake, 30 yards from the corner flag. Foden to his left. Square is Bernardo Silva. Now Alvarez shows and receives. Just nipped away from him by Sykes. And James tries to find the run of Weimann. De Bruyne picks it up 35 yards from goal. Despairing challenge, tries to thread it through to Alvarez. Tracks the run, did Sykes all the way through to the penalty area, into the 6-yard line, and manages to smuggle it clear. Long diagonal ball, Ake sprinting towards it. So is Andreas Weimann on his heels, wearing the armband now. And Ake does well, finds Phillips. Phillips under a little bit of pressure from Scott, but will lift that across to Rico Lewis. Takes that down well with his chest. Right at centre, over the halfway line he goes. Into the feet of De Bruyne. Checks his run. Steps back towards the halfway line. Feeds Manuel Akanji. Akanji. Just a little couple of passes between him and Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez in at central midfield position for the moment. Now Phillips, further towards the left is Ake, wide on the left-hand side, 30 yards from goal is Foden. Silva made a lovely run, in and around the back of James. The cross was a little poor though, and Vinyl will get it clear. Ake will track it all the way back into his own half, right of centre, and steers it back to Ruben Diaz, 20 yards Out of his own 18-yard box, left of centre. Here is Lewis, shifted out to the right-hand side. 10 yards shy of the halfway line of City. Inside to Akanji. Scott lurks in front of him. De Bruyne just ghosted down that right-hand touchline. Wasn't picked up at all. Bounces that off Mahrez. Mahrez is now wide. De Bruyne's inside. And the ball is back to Akanji on the halfway line. Just tiptoeing his way further forward is Manuel Akanji. Shifted out towards Riyad Mahrez. Slow build-up play here from City. Taking their time. Forward from Akanji into Lewis between the lines. Right of centre. Akanji into the centre circle for Ruben Diaz. Now Bernardo Silva towards the left-hand side of that centre circle. Out towards the left-hand side for Foden. Foden darts inside. Forward to Ake in an advanced position. Edge of the penalty area. Wide to Silva. Close down. Out comes the defenders to meet him. To the edge of the 18-yard box for Ake. Now into the crossing position he goes. Tracked by Weimann. Backwards towards Phillips. Phillips finds Diaz retreating on the halfway line. And Bristol City step out with Manchester City. Phillips to Diaz and back again. Naki Wells charging towards Ruben Diaz, just stops his momentum in time. City play it down the left-hand side and inside to Alvarez. Back to Alvarez from De Bruyne. Ake finds Alvarez this time, left of centre, 45 yards or so from goal, just a few yards forward of the halfway line as Phillips takes it back into his own half. Then across to Akanji. Akanji will try it down the right-hand side. Mahrez inside to Lewis. Lewis closed down by Matty James. Scott's going to try and help out too. Lewis, right of centre, forward to De Bruyne. Back to goal though. Out to the right-hand side to Akanji, right of centre, midway through the Bristol City half. Here's De Bruyne to Diaz. All outfield players for City in the Bristol City half. Here is Ake towards the left-hand side. Silva's heading back towards the halfway line. He's going to feed it to Phillips there too. Into the centre circle for Ruben Diaz. Diaz with a long ball, spotted the run of Mahrez. Drifting out towards the right-hand side. Heading back is Pring, heading it down, but De Bruyne will latch onto the second ball and inside to the edge of the area for Riyad Mahrez. Tried to thread that through towards Alvarez. There were bodies in the way for Bristol City. Weimann's touch is loose. He's given it straight back to Riyad Mahrez on the edge of the 18-yard box. He skipped one way, then the other. Goes down under the challenge of Zach Weiner, and that will be a free kick for Manchester City in a very threatening area. 22 yards so from goal. Mahrez just opened up to strike it with his left, came back in on his right. Weiner left the boot in, Mahrez went over it. And this is a very promising position for the visitors. The wall is, well, quite sizable. Brings in there, so is Weiner. Max O'Leary wants to get this absolutely inch perfect, even then, with the quality on offer here from City. Could be in for a tough couple of moments. Kevin De Bruyne stands over it, so does Riyad Mahrez. I think that Kevin De Bruyne might pull rank here. It's not too far outside the 18-yard box. That may be the only thing concerning the two. Ability to whip it up and down. City have set up their own wall. A metre or so in front of the Bristol City one. 3 in it. De Bruyne steps away from it with intent. Mahrez stays there. De Bruyne tries to curl it over the top. It's into the face of Pring. The draft excluder on the ground was Naki Wells. Man City have picked it up on the right-hand side with Bernardo Silva. Drifts inside onto his left foot. Now is right. Looking for options. Has got one too. It's Foden out there. Inside from Foden to Mahrez. Mahrez tries to find another pass into a central area. He's being pressed here by Williams, forcing him back further and further across to De Bruyne, left of centre. Now shifted across to Calvin Phillips. He's got a bit of space to work it into. Forward to the retreating Mahrez. First time ball back to Rico Lewis, just on the outside of the centre circle. Now De Bruyne takes over possession. Forward to Mahrez between the lines. Tries to shift it onto his left foot. Getting back at him is Matty James and winning the ball well. Here's Pring charging forward into the centre. Edge of the centre circle for Williams. Usher that into the path of Sykes. Charging forward now. Foden trying to get back at him. Sykes is going to go past him. Sykes will unleash the cross. It's into Weimann. First time ball straight into Ruben Diaz and cleared by Manchester City. Good counter-attack, but no finishing product there from Bristol City. Ake has got the ball forward down the left-hand touchline for De Bruyne. Early ball across field and retreating. And getting such an important head to it was Cameron Pring. Must have rung the length of the pitch. In acres of space on that far side was Riyad Mahrez. He was Pring's man. They had a great... they'd manufactured themselves a half chance, and Bristol City had their backs turned, sprinting back towards goal, and Pring, once again, up to the task. The forward ball is headed down by Ake towards the halfway line and picked up by Williams. That's rather fired onto the face of Naki Wells. And Alex Scott has done well picking up the second ball midway through the Man City half, right in the middle of it, and just shepherding the ball away from the visiting players, who went backwards though to the right-hand side. Sykes to Viner. Now Matty James to Kalash. 10 yards outside his penalty area is the goalkeeper O'Leary. Viner's in possession. Edge of the centre circle is Scott. Tries to lift one forward. It's a very good ball. Drifting out to this right-hand side is Andreas Weimann. There's the cross towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Stabbed away by Akanji. He's not got it clear. Ruben Diaz tries to nod it further. Foden's given it back to Diaz. That's a smart bit of play too. Weimann had already pressed towards Foden. Give Diaz a bit more space, and now De Bruyne's in possession, left of centre, midway through the Man City half. Now towards the left-hand side for Foden. Back inside to his captain, Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne tries to curl one. It's a wonderful pass towards Phil Foden. Ran round the outside of Sykes. Here is Foden in possession, level with the edge of the penalty area. Wide on the left-hand side. Will return this to Kevin De Bruyne. Left of centre, midway through the Bristol City half. Calvin Phillips finds Diaz in the centre circle. Towards Ake, left of centre. Bodies in front of him. Most of them in red. A couple of them popping up in that highlighter yellow. Ake will prod forward to one of them, Phil Foden, just ghosting between players and now feeding Lewis in the centre circle. Akanji, just over the halfway line. Back to Lewis, out to the right-hand side. Mahrez, pressed by Pring. Pressed all the way into a pass back to Akanji on the halfway line. Will try a long ball forward. It's a little flick on it from Pring. Kalash comes across. Kalash collects two. Just tries to shepherd that on the touchline on the far side. Can't prevent the throw. It was really good defending from the Czech. Mahrez takes it quickly, backwards down the line towards Lewis. Hops further backwards, just 6 yards forward from the halfway line as Akanji. Into the centre circle for Diaz. They're going to shift it out to the left-hand side for Ake. Next forward, Silva's showing for it. He will get it and try to lay it off to Phillips. A misplaced pass, latched onto by Wells. Williams tries to turn away from the pressure of Alvarez, does so too. Backwards to Kalash, left of centre. Now Viner from right of centre, just outside his penalty area. Long downfield on the right-hand side. Ake wins the header. Foden wins the second ball. Inside to Phillips. Phillips' pass forward is intercepted by Bristol City. Sykes. And back from Viner to the goalkeeper from the penalty spot, long downfield. Not enough pressure on Scott there. And the pressure, when it does come from Calvin Phillips, is not fair, says Andre Mariner. Blows the whistle. Will be a Bristol City free kick. And they can let off some of the pressure for the moment here. Just a bit too physical there from Calvin Phillips. Scott's touch was really good. Off the chest. And Phillips just a bit too much hand in the back of the Bristol City youngster. It's all the way back to O'Leary though. Here's Matty James on the edge of his 18-yard box. Pressed by Alvarez. Will curl one forward. This time it's nodded out towards the right-hand side for Sykes. Scott tries to run past Bernardo Silva. And just to wrap a leg and steal the ball away from Scott. It's made its way inside to De Bruyne. It's a threatening move here from City. Alvarez will shoot. Collected by Max O'Leary, diving away towards his right-hand side. It was struck from distance from Alvarez. Easily done, though, from the goalkeeper. James has found Sykes, and he's been bundled to ground off the ball. And Andre Mariner, I think, has blown the whistle. Play goes on down this right-hand touchline. Andre Mariner, I think, already blew the whistle. He's reached into his right pocket. He's waving, I think, Phil Foden over. It was a hefty challenge on Mark Sykes. The yellow card is out from Andre Mariner on Phil Foden. Phil Foden has his say back to the referee. We'll have a look at the replay. Sykes had played the ball. Foden committed to the challenge. Sykes, in trying to evade him, just lifts up, and the centre of gravity is taken out from under him by Phil Foden. Yellow card dished out by Andre Mariner. 65 minutes on the clock, still Bristol City 0, Manchester City 1. Elsewhere, Leicester City trail at home 2-1 against Blackburn Rovers of the Championship. And it's Fulham 2, Leeds United 0 at Craven Cottage. City being boxed in on the edge of their own 18-yard box here. Here's Bernardo Silva, hunted down by Weimann. It's not going to go out of play. Weimann tries to keep it in place. Silva slides in. Andreas Weimann wants the throw in. He's not going to get it. Will be City's. They had an appeal outside the 18-yard box. Ruben Diaz was a bit clumsy in the back of Bell. Bell did go to ground a little softly. I think that's why Andre Mariner didn't blow the whistle. It's lifted down the line by City. Viner will watch it bounce out of play for a Bristol City throw. Goes back towards Thomas Callas for Bristol City. Into the feet this time of O'Leary on the edge of the D, on the edge of his penalty box. Diagonal ball out towards the right-hand side. It's bobbling towards the corner flag. Ake's in close attendance. Sees fit to just let that drift out of play. The throw-in will be 6 yards from the corner flag down the left-hand side of that Manchester City defence. Ake wants options. Bristol City have pressed plenty of men forward. They look good for an equaliser here. Haven't really manufactured too many chances so far, but once again that resilience is still on show from them. Alvarez tries to feed that inside, and Sykes does well to feed it back to Kalash. Long ball downfield up towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Stooping low was Naki Wells. Ruben Diaz didn't see him coming. Wells tries to step across the path of Diaz. Diaz has got it clear near the corner flag. Second ball won though by Bristol City midway through their own half on the right-hand side. Sykes giving it to by James. James back in possession. Forward for Williams, right of centre. Tries to cross. Stooping header from Ake. Puts it out of play for a Bristol City corner. And the atmosphere kicks up a notch inside Ashton Gate. That's what I was saying. Bristol City, they haven't really manufactured too many chances in this second half, but they do look like they're up for it. James will take the corner kick from the right-hand side. Plenty of options in the 18-yard box. Naki Wells is on the corner of the 6-yard area. Up comes Viner, up comes Kalash, in comes the delivery. It's towards Kalash. He's lost out to Akanji. Header up and away goes Ake. It's out towards the left-hand side and will be collected by Joe Williams. Down the left-hand touchline for Pring. Ake comes to meet him. Pring's delivery towards the far side. Underneath it is Naki Wells. Tries to head that down to a teammate. Lifted clear by Kevin De Bruyne. The touch is a really good one from Scott. Just takes him back towards the halfway line. Back towards safety. And it's now into the feet of Sykes. Back across towards Scott, right of centre. Rifles one. Left-footed. Diagonal. Lovely ball. Taken down on the edge of the 18-yard box by Bell. Can't keep possession though. Lifted away by Ake. Second ball will be won by Bristol City. Here's Williams. Prods this down towards Pring. Back out towards the left-hand side for Williams. Drifts further wide. In front of him, Bell darts and down the touchline, makes a run, but it's inside towards Pring, edge of the 18-yard box. In steps Akanji, wins the ball, but gives it away to Pring. Once again, Bristol City in possession on the left-hand side. Pring in possession near the corner flag, closed down by Rico Lewis. Pring tries to spring and turn away from Riyad Mahrez. The ball breaks to Bell on the edge of the 18-yard box. Drop backwards, early ball in towards the back post. Ederson collects in his 6-yard box. The fans behind his goal wants a corner kick for Bristol City. They say he collected it and took it out of play with him, but referee Andre Marin allows play to continue. Kevin De Bruyne just charges forward, checks his run on the halfway line, waits for a tackle. Cruyff turns his way past it and then bounces that off Foden on the left-hand side. De Bruyne now finds Calvin Phillips left of centre. Midway through the Bristol City half. De Bruyne, lackadaisically just shifting that back to Nathan Ake. Here's Ake. Inside this time to
and head to restream.io and log into your account.
Across to the right-hand side.
Once you land on your dashboard,
the centre circle,
choose Add Destinations
Lewis,
and add any platforms you want to stream to.
Line.
Adding channels to Restream is simple and consists of selecting your destination, logging into the platform, and authorizing Restream to stream to that platform.
Lewis
then just
towards the halfway line. Alvarez
many
touches loose and latched onto. Is Williams in possession for Bristol City? Viner's given it away. Stippsy tried to clear the through ball though.
Or require additional
to latch onto, and Pring will steer it back to
and
O'Leary.
That's it.
He'll
and
thump this downfield over the halfway line. Naki Wells pushing and putting with Akanji, giving as good as he gets for the City defender. Hoisted clear by Diaz up towards the left-hand side. Vyman wins the header, nods that towards the corner flag. Bristol City will give chase. It's Scott with Ruben Diaz. Tries to get round him. Scott got there too. Vyman rifles it across goal. It's in towards the run in the middle of Bell. He just couldn't adjust his body in time and can't squeeze his header on target. It's just wide of the near post. Really good persistent stuff from Alex Scott. He wrapped his heel round Ruben Diaz, won the ball. Vyman took the crossing opportunity first time, and from just inside the 6-yard box, it was a little bit behind him, Bell. He tried to twist his body, but he just couldn't make the right contacts. Naki Wells was on the follow-up, perhaps didn't hear the shout. Could have had a strike at it from the penalty spot. And Man City are going to respond to that with a change. Riyad Mahrez is going to come off. And on comes Jack Grealish. Here is Ederson towards Ake on the left-hand side. Back inside to Ederson. He's been put under pressure on the byline from Naki Wells will get the ball long downfield, though, the goalkeeper. The header is won by Sykes. Here comes De Bruyne. Almost gets across, but that's really brave defending from Thomas Kalash. Went sliding in, had to get it right. Did so, and I think he took a blow to the face from the boots of Kevin De Bruyne on the way through. He's absolutely put his body on in the line of fire. And just popped straight back to his feet, the Czech. It's a throw-in taken quickly by City. Jack Grealish in the left-back position, just toying with them whimsically. Cross towards the right-hand side for Manuel Akanji, right-hand centre, near the centre circle. Cross to his centre-half colleague. Ruben Diaz finds Lewis in the centre circle. Lewis towards the right-hand side. Foden's out there. It's back to Akanji on the halfway line, right of centre. Just tiptoeing his way forward. Looking to collect was Alvarez, but Viner pursues him every single time. Alvarez just gave it straight back to Akanji. Midway through the City half now, the City defender. Back towards Ruben Diaz for Manchester City. Shifted towards Akanji. Now Diaz again, sliding in to try and win the ball away from Diaz was Williams. I think Andre Marin has given a throw there rather than a foul on Ruben Diaz. It was a little bit late there from Williams, and free kick has been given by Andre Mariner. My apologies. My apologies to Ruben Diaz too.
If you have been following our live streams, you might have wondered how we have so many live streams running at once. So today, I'm going to show you need multiple instances on your computer. Mind that this only works if your hardware is capable. I will be showing both methods with timestamps in the description. So let's get started with setting up the first live stream. Dashboard, what you want to do is streaming dashboard. What you want to description, and then set a time when you want the stream to start. Now on a title, and then create a new live stream. Once you're here, you want to type in a title, a description, and then set a time when you want the stream to start. Now once this is done, you want to click on either yes, it's made for kids, or no, it's not made for kids, depending on what type of stream you are starting. For this test, I'm going to click on no, it's not made for kids. Then you want to click on create stream, where YouTube will now automatically create your event. And just like that, I have created my first live stream. Now, if you don't know how to set up a live stream, you should watch our OBS tutorial, which will be linked in the description below. Now, what you want to do, all you want to do is click on OBS Studio. And to do that, all you want to do is click on OBS Studio, and then select the bitrate that your computer is able. And then paste the stream key. Then you want to click apply and OK, and just like that, your OBS is ready to live stream live on YouTube. And all I have to do is click go live in order to go live. And now to start a new live stream again, all you want to do is go back to your YouTube studio. Then you want to click create exact same steps, schedule a stream, add a title, description, and a time. You're here. What you want to do is click on your Windows search bar once again, type in OBS, and then hold your shift key while opening OBS Studio. Now what this will do is you will open another window of OBS. There is a warning message saying that OBS is already running. However, you can just ignore this and click launch anyway. Once you're here, what you want to do is create a new stream key on your dashboard. Add a name for the stream key on your dashboard, add a description, and then select create. And then copy the stream key, go back to your new OBS window, and then follow the exact same steps that I demonstrated before. Then click apply and OK. And then just like that, you are able to start the new live stream. I will now click on start streaming, and in a second you will see the preview go live on YouTube. And now my preview is live on YouTube, and all I have to do is click go live channel. So those were the first way to stream multiple events at the same time, same YouTube channel. So those were the first way to stream multiple events at the same time. Streaming on multiple computers is just as simple, the only difference being that you will start the second things to keep in mind when you're running a different multiple live stream instead of on the same one. If you're using Nightbot, Nightbot will be in the chat of both at the same time. Multiple live streams will use a lot more bandwidth. And if you're looking for how to host your live stream without using your own computer, or how to stream 20, you can also. So that is all. Thanks for watching, and
Nigel Pearson's preparing a change. We'll bring you news on that shortly. Usida in possession in their back line. Kalash inside to James, left of centre. 12 yards outside his own box. Shifted across to Viner, put under pressure immediately by Grealish and Alvarez. Back to the goalkeeper O'Leary, who pumps this downfield. Here's Rico Lewis, challenged by Wells, and Lewis let it bounce. Wells is in possession now, attacking third. Played backwards, just played behind Pring, but he will retrieve on the touchline. Back to Callas, just inside his own half. More central area for James. Long diagonal out to the right-hand side. He's found Sykes. Wonderful touch by Sykes. Looks inside. He should look inside anyway. He tried to... I'm not sure what he's trying to do there. Either whip it towards the far post or lift it towards the back on target, but he had inside him, screaming for the ball, Andreas Weimann in acres of space, with the quality to test Edison from the distance he was at, just on the edge of the 18-yard box, and didn't play it to him. Well, Nigel Pearson is now making the change. It's Cameron Pring. He's been lively down that left-hand side. Been a difficult evening, of course, for him with the quality he's had to deal with. But off comes Pring and on comes Jay De Silva. Perhaps a like-for-like change there. We'll see what happens over the remaining 13 minutes or so. It's in the City box with Ruben Diaz. They took the goal kick short. Back to Edison to the left of the 6-yard box. Bristol City pressing high, as you would expect. Edison across this time to Diaz. City with the comfort blanket. Manchester City with the 2-goal cushion. Lifted down the left-hand touchline by Silva. Right-hand touchline, rather, by Silva towards Grealish. Back into the 18-yard box. Diaz. City still boxing them in well. The hosts. Edison in possession. Just shy of the penalty spot. Here is Ruben Diaz on the right-hand side of their own penalty area. Silva came to request the ball. Diaz said no. Still taking his time in possession. Phillips just slips off the ball. Edison on the 6-yard line with the ball at his feet. Back to Diaz. That fluid football that Manchester City are so well known for. Goalkeeper to centre-half and back again for a while. Here's De Bruyne now on the left-hand side. They've earned their right to play however they want here, City. 2 goals in the lead. The scoreline is fair, must be said, on the balance of play. And Akanji back to Diaz. This time he will play it long. Alvarez tried to come and collect, but it just lifts off the ground over him, and Viner will steer it back to O'Leary. Long ball out towards the left-hand side. Left of centre challenging with Akanji is Naki Wells. Volleyed up into the sky by Silva. But the flag is up on Wells and will restart shortly with a free kick. Right of centre for Manchester City. Time ticking away from the Robinson. Well, the body language has started to change a little bit. That's a wonderful diagonal from the free kick to Grealish on this left-hand side. Running at Sykes, Grealish to the byline, tries to put it across goal. It's flicked off the gloves of O'Leary. He was worried about it, immediately spun round, and it's on to the top of the goal rather than over the line. Was some ball from Manuel Akanji, spotting Jack Grealish out there, running at Sykes, just eked out a yard and tried to lift it into the path of Alvarez. It burst through the gloves of O'Leary. A corner kick rather than a third for City. It's out on the far side. In comes a delivery towards the near post from Foden. Stooping low and trying to head it away, but only gets it up is Weimann. De Silva gives that back to Foden. Persistent is Foden. Laid onto his left foot by Ake. Foden stretching. Can't get the ball away from Viner, and De Silva will play this forward. Bristol City try to manufacture a counter here, and they're doing so on the left-hand side. Ankles clipped there, Naki Wells. Andre Mariner blows the whistle. Manuel Akanji penalised. Out towards the left-hand side. Wells inside to Scott. Tries to play it back to Wells. Lunging challenge from Phillips. Wins the ball cleanly. Back towards Ruben Diaz into the 6-yard area for Edison. Lewis will just settle things down for the moment in the defensive midfield position. Phillips will drop alongside him. Wells cuts a tired-looking figure in front of the pair. Diaz in possession in the middle of the City half. Heads off towards the left-hand side and finds his colleague Nathan Ake. Down the left-hand touchline for Grealish. Collects on the halfway line. Immediately starts running at Williams. Inside it goes. Now De Bruyne. Ominous-looking area. Tries to cut one from distance, and that's absolutely spectacular from Kevin De Bruyne. The Bristol City back line backs away from him. He's nigh on 35 yards from goal. He's cushioned that, stroked it, curled it perfectly into the far corner. Max O'Leary went sprawling across, maybe just an inch off his line, a bit too far, but That's the kind of finish that only really Kevin De Bruyne can pull off. He's some way out. He's spotted the little gap, the tiniest glint in the armour of Bristol City, and he's punished them. And that is the third. And that is good night to Bristol City's hopes of progressing through the FA Cup. It's something of beauty. It's such a wonderful strike. Absolutely beautiful from Kevin De Bruyne. And just a few weeks ago, people were talking about him as potentially gone off the boil. Well, that's wonderful. They're going to respond here. Bristol City, they have to, with something Nahki Wells. We were saying about how tired he looked. He's going to come off, and on comes the Aussie, Marley Francois. And I think Phil Foden's night is over too. It is a few changes here for Man City. On comes Cole Palmer. Another one of those bright sparks of the academy for Man City. And off too goes Nathan Ake. And on comes Sergio Gomez. Bristol City in possession with Thomas Callas. The goalkeeper, O'Leary, once again a first-time ball downfield. Bell tries to jump with Akanji. Akanji wins the header. Scott collects deep inside his own half, not where he wants to be. Long ball downfield once again from O'Leary out towards his left-hand side, but this time there's no one there in red to collect for the Robinson. It goes harmlessly out of play for a Man City throw. Game pretty much dead as a contest, but as Kevin De Bruyne has just shown us not dead as a spectacle. Another magic moment from one of the best midfielders Premier League's ever seen, surely. Lewis towards his right for Akanji. Back inside to Diaz. Francois just presses Diaz out towards the left-hand side this time. Here's Gomez. First touch of the ball for him. Down the line for Grealish. Between the legs of Weimann goes Grealish. Back towards Gomez. Inside to the edge of the penalty area for Diaz. Shifted across to Akanji in the right-back position. Pressed now by Bell. Inside to Lewis. Evades the press, though, of Matty James. Bristol City have picked it up. It was De Silva, but they've lost possession through Silva and Phillips out towards the left-hand side. Grealish and De Bruyne running in tandem. Grealish inside, De Bruyne to the left. De Bruyne across the 6-yard box. At the back post, there were options. It's headed down, but not away by De Silva. Not being cleared here. Still in the 18-yard box, our City. Grealish latches onto it. Now on the edge of the 18-yard box is Gomez. Wide towards De Bruyne. And City are almost toying with Bristol City here. Grealish inside towards De Bruyne. They're going to go back towards the halfway line. Diaz across towards the
Kevin De Bruyne, sorry, I thought it was Grealish with the assist, forgive me. So Bristol City 0, Manchester City 3. You can hear the last knockings of that over on TalkSport with Jim Proudfoot and Andy Townsend. I'll have to go and speak to the managers, Marco Silva and Javi Gracia. You'll hear from them.
Cross by Gomez to De Bruyne, popping up on the left-hand side. Gomez inside to Lewis in the centre circle, drifting towards the right-hand side. Checks his run. It's 6 yards to his left to Calvin Phillips. Here's Gomez again. Left of centre. Midway or so through the Bristol City half of the field. Calvin Phillips lifts one out towards the right-hand side. Cole Palmer takes it down with his left. Is pressed now by Bell. Ball is back to Akanji on
so slightly tingly lips.
Into Ruben Diaz at the base of the centre circle, looking towards his left-hand side. Here is Gomez. In the left-hand side of that back three for City now. Gets it back from De Bruyne. He was swarmed immediately by Sykes and Weimann. Diaz heads off towards the centre circle. Forward run. In between the lines for Silva. Right of centre. Wide for Palmer. Will try and run at De Silva now. Onto his left foot goes Palmer. Checks back onto his right. De Silva retreating. Inching his way back into the 18-yard box. Palmer has found Silva. There's a strike from Alvarez. There's a diving attempted block there from Viner. O'Leary's touched it away and cleared downfield eventually. City wanted a penalty. I think a few appeals there from maybe Bernardo Silva and Cole Palmer. Andre Mariner wave play on. Here's Phillips towards the left-hand side. Grealish comes in off the touchline. Right-footed pass into De Bruyne. Left of centre, 10 yards into the Bristol City half. Gomez finds Lewis in the centre circle. They'll shift it up out towards the right-hand side to Akanji. Further down the line for Palmer. Andre Mariner Well, he's just spotted something. Bernardo Silva's not happy, and bit of a shoving match here with Williams, and suddenly there's a bit of a kerfuffle. And Bernardo Silva, I think there was a challenge off the ball from Williams. Not sure what happened there. We'll have a look at the replay, but what you could spot was Bernardo Silva getting to his feet angrily and shoving at Joe Williams once or twice before Williams.
Sykes cleared it from down by the post. Manchester City will come again.
Yeah, big call actually whether or not Bernardo Silva was offside in that move.
And Andre Mariner is just going to wave Joe Williams over. Captain Andreas Weimann is having a word with Andre Mariner. Kevin De Bruyne is in the ear too of Andre Mariner in his role as Manchester City captain. He's taking the name of Joe Williams and will show him the yellow card as we head into the last 3 minutes at Ashton Gate. We'll have a little look at the replay. Williams just was running across, bundled into the back of Bernardo Silva. I think there was a little bit of a, not shove, but maybe a shoulder into the side of Silva. He took exception to it, bounced to his feet and shoved out at Williams. And a few moments before that, there was a penalty claim from Manchester City, and Zach Viner, well, it did come off the left arm of him. I'm not sure Andre Mariner spotted it. We'll get into the debate about arms in natural and unnatural positions, but Mariner's looked to be down by his side, perhaps. VAR, of course, not in operation this evening, as Manchester City make another change. Bristol City will make one too. Joe Williams has been taken off. Yellow card, the last involvement. And on will come Omar Taylor-Clark, the young Welshman. Peroni for Man City has come on. We haven't seen who is replaced. They're still sorting out the details. And on comes Omar Taylor-Clark. There's another change. It'll be Matty James who comes off. And on comes Andy King for the last remaining 3 minutes. We'll try and work out who Peroni's come on for. Count up the players and check the numbers, of course. It'll be a long ball out towards the right-hand side. Weimann's underneath it. It's Kevin De Bruyne who has been replaced by the young Argentine Maximo Peroni. One ball forward. Phillips wins the header in midfield, deep in that Manchester City midfield. Palmer receives it. Phillips now curls one out towards the right-hand side. De Bruyne's touch is loose. Here is Omar Taylor-Clark using his body well, shepherding it away from Kevin De Bruyne. And Taylor-Clark takes the free kick quickly. Backwards towards Kalash. Inside to Andy King, gives it back to Callas, and now the goalkeeper takes over, left of centre on the edge of his own penalty area. The diagonal ball is out towards the right-hand side. The header is missed by both Gomez and Sykes. Will be a City throw. Bristol City, they want to have something from this game. Their fans have been fantastic this evening and such a good run of form. The future looks bright for this club. They'd love to send their fans home with the memories of a goal against the Premier League champions. They don't look likely at the moment with City in possession, though. Akanji near their own corner flag. Bell spiritedly presses back inside to Ederson. Splits the two players with a pass to Lewis on the corner of the 18-yard box. Francois is pressing. It's long downfield. That's won by Viner. Did he haul his man out of the way? Alvarez. In steps Sykes to just make it safe and go all the way back to the goalkeeper O'Leary. We've hit the 90-minute mark. The ball is out towards the right-hand side, headed out of play, this time by Gomez. Just 2 more minutes left. 2 minutes added on by the fourth official, James Linnington. Thrown in by Sykes to King. Back to Sykes and steered back to the goalkeeper, O'Leary. Right-hand side of his 18-yard box. Long downfield through the middle of the pitch. Francois will jump. Diaz will win the header. Skips on the back of his head to Akanji. Ederson's come out. It's broken almost to Francois. Ederson just got there in time. Otherwise, Francois was about to just rifle one into an unguarded net. Not for the first time this evening. Ederson a little bit sketchy. De Bruyne inside to Lewis. Shifted towards the left-hand side. Gomez towards the halfway line. Given back to him by Peroni. Now, Ruben Diaz just tells Calvin Phillips to settle things down, and he does so with the ball towards the right-hand side for Kevin De Bruyne. rather dismissively dispatches that back towards Manuel Akanji. Inside to Diaz, just outside the 18-yard box. Phil Foden has been named man of the match. 2 goals this evening. You can understand that. Out towards the right-hand side for Kevin De Bruyne. And De Bruyne back inside to Akanji. Bristol City look spent. City look happy. And Ruben Diaz is in possession, carrying the ball towards the halfway line. Into the feet of Pironi. Back to Phillips, just to the left of the centre circle, inside the City half of the field. This time Diaz. Diaz towards the left-hand side. Gomez will track backwards and play that all the way back towards Edison on the left-hand side of his penalty area. He'll launch one long downfield up towards Alvarez. Battling for the ball, but it's been latched onto by Taylor Clark in the centre circle. Will go backwards. Viner will wind one up for one last charge. They're running out of time. 4 seconds left on the clock. Here is Sykes, and Andre Mariner has brought the game to an end. That's the final whistle. Manchester City have pulled off the result that pretty much everyone was expecting. Bristol City with a spirited performance. It really was touch and go for a moment. They didn't quite test the goalkeeper as much as they'd wanted, but you can see why they've been on such a good run of form in the league. Once again, they go out of the FA Cup for the 5th round. Haven't progressed past this point since 1974. And City march on. They'll really want to get their hands on a first FA Cup since 2019. It was goals from Phil Foden, 2 of them, and then Kevin De Bruyne with a wonderful curling effort from around 38 to 40 yards. Caught Max O'Leary unawares to seal a really dominant display by Manchester City. They'll move on to their next game against high-flying Newcastle, the losers of the Carabao Cup, on Saturday at 12:30. While Bristol City turn their attention back to league action, back to the Championship. They're currently in 13th place. The playoffs are only 10 points away, and they will take on Cardiff, who are themselves struggling towards the foots of the Championship table. Been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for listening to me today. It's finished Bristol City 0, Manchester City 3. It's always a pleasure to bring you commentary of these games, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's been Charlie, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time, receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. Commentary will be starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love. Did you know LiveScore's news service covers a wide range of football and non-football content, from predictive articles, transfer talk, match reports, in-depth analysis and much more? Just head over to the news section or the info tab. Want to receive match updates for the scores, stats and content for the matches that matter? You can find and favourite any event using our search feature or via our fixture listings and by hitting the star icon. During the match, receive live notifications of scores and key moments, whilst at full time, receive updates when match highlights are ready to view and match reports are ready to read. starting soon. Whilst you wait, why not follow us on all social channels at LiveScore for the latest stats, news and opinions. Thanks for tuning in to this LiveScore audio commentary. We will join our commentator for all the action soon. In the meantime, have you used our new Team Pages feature? Search for or select any team within the app to see form guides, fixtures, results, league tables, player stats and much more. Make sure you hit the star to favourite your club or clubs to receive live scores, updates, news and video based on the teams you love.